Have you ever wondered what consciousness actually is? Where does our sense of self, our feelings, and our awareness of the world come from? For centuries, philosophers and scientists have grappled with this profound question. The traditional view is that our brain is like a super sophisticated biological computer, with neurons acting as tiny switches, firing in complex patterns to create our thoughts. But what if there's more to the story? What if the secret to consciousness lies not in classical physics, but in the strange and wonderful world of quantum mechanics? This idea might sound like science fiction, but a growing number of scientists are taking it seriously. It's a theory called orchestrated objective reduction, or OR for short. It was proposed back in the 1990s by the brilliant physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff. They suggested that consciousness isn't computed like a program on a computer. Instead, it emerges from quantum processes happening deep inside our brain's neurons. So what does that even mean? Let's break it down. Classical computers, like the one you're probably watching this on, work with bits. A bit is either a 0 or a 1, on or off. It's a very definite state. But in the quantum world, things are much weirder. A quantum bit, or qubit, can be a 0, a 1, or both at the same time. This is called superposition. It's like a spinning coin before it lands. It's both heads and tails simultaneously. The OR theory suggests that inside our neurons, there are tiny structures called microtubules. Think of them as the skeleton of the cell. Penrose and Hameroff proposed that these microtubules could act as quantum computers. The electrons within them could enter a state of superposition, existing in multiple states at once. They're not just on or off, they're in a cloud of possibilities. According to the theory, these quantum states are orchestrated across many neurons, connected in a vast entangled network. Entanglement is another bizarre quantum concept, where particles become linked in such a way that what happens to one instantly affects the other, no matter how far apart they are. Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance. So you have these microtubules in a state of quantum superposition, all linked together. But this state can't last forever. The quantum world is fragile. Eventually, this superposition collapses into a definite classical state, either a 0 or a 1. Penrose calls this objective reduction, and it's in this very moment of collapse, this moment happening billions of times every second all over your brain, that a flicker of conscious experience is born. Think of it like an orchestra. Each musician, each microtubule is playing a range of possible notes this superposition. They're all in sync, entangled. Then, at the direction of the conductor, the objective reduction, they all collapse into a single, beautiful chord, a moment of pure conscious experience. The seamless flow of our consciousness is just a rapid series of these quantum chords. This theory is fascinating because it could help explain some of the mysteries of consciousness that classical neuroscience struggles with. For example, why does consciousness feel unified and whole rather than like a jumble of separate processes? The quantum entanglement of microtubules could provide an answer. It could also explain why anesthetics work. Hameroff, being an anesthesiologist, noticed that certain anesthetic gases seem to interact with these microtubules, potentially disrupting their ability to maintain a quantum state and thus turning off consciousness. But, and this is a big but, the OR theory is highly controversial. One of the main criticisms is the warm, wet, and noisy problem. Quantum effects are notoriously delicate. They usually require extremely cold, isolated environments to be observed in a lab. The brain, on the other hand, is warm, wet, and full of electrical and chemical noise. How could such a fragile quantum state survive in there for even a fraction of a second? It's like trying to keep a snowflake from melting in a furnace. For years, this was the biggest hurdle for the theory. Critics argued that the quantum states would decohere, or fall apart, almost instantly, far too quickly to be relevant for the slow pace of neural processes. However, recent discoveries have started to change the conversation. In 2013, a research group led by Anirban Bandyopati at the National Institute for Materials Science in Japan found evidence of quantum vibrations in microtubules. They discovered that these vibrations could persist for much longer than previously thought, even at warm temperatures. This suggested that microtubules might have some kind of built-in insulation, protecting the delicate quantum processes inside. Further studies have explored how the unique gel-like water inside neurons could shield these quantum states. It's not just regular water. It's ordered in a way that might create a quantum-friendly zone. It's as if the brain evolved its own perfect little laboratory to harness the power of quantum mechanics. If the brain really is a quantum computer, the implications are staggering. It would mean that human consciousness is not just an emergent property of complex computation, but a fundamental feature of the universe, connected to the very fabric of spacetime geometry, as Penrose's physics suggests. It could also open up entirely new avenues for understanding mental health and developing new treatments. Perhaps conditions like depression or schizophrenia involve a kind of quantum decoherence in the brain. It could also completely revolutionize the field of artificial intelligence. We've been trying to build conscious AI based on classical computing. But if consciousness is fundamentally quantum, we might be using the wrong tools altogether. A truly conscious machine might need to be a quantum machine. Of course, we are still a very long way from proving any of this. The Ork-Or theory remains on the fringes of mainstream science, a bold and beautiful hypothesis that is incredibly difficult to test. We need more direct evidence. We need to be able to peek inside a living neuron and observe these quantum processes in action, a task that is currently beyond our technological reach. But science is all about pushing boundaries and asking big questions. The idea that our very awareness is woven from the strange and magical rules of the quantum realm is a powerful and inspiring one. It suggests that we are not just biological machines but something far more profound, connected to the deepest laws of the cosmos. Whether it turns out to be right or wrong, the quest to understand the quantum brain forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge and to dream of what might be possible. So the next time you have a thought, feel an emotion, or simply gaze at the world in wonder, take a moment to consider the possibility. Perhaps you're not just processing information. Perhaps you're collapsing wave functions, orchestrating a symphony of quantum possibilities into a single precious moment of conscious experience. What do you think? Is our brain a classical computer, a quantum computer, or something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the mind, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest questions in science. Thanks for watching.